They are the silent watchers, the shadowy protectors, and the invisible force that have quietly shaped the course of history. From the banks of the Nile, where ancient warriors stood sentinel to safeguard the well-being of their beloved pharaohs, to the gleaming 21st century fortresses of today's private military companies tasked with shielding multibillionaires from imminent harm, the story of the private security forces that protect the assets and lives of old money families, the world's wealthiest clans whose opulence stretches across epochs, captures a gripping journey of dominance, desire, and financial intrigue. It's a tale of mercenaries and samurais, castles and spies, families who rose and fell by the sword of information and influence. On today's episode of Old Money Luxury, step into a world where loyalty is auctioned to the highest bidder, and where the currency of information rules the halls of power as we describe the secret armies of the super-rich and the private security of old money families. Stepping back into the wings of the grand theatre of ancient history, security would quickly play a role as compellingly as any literary protagonist. Here, we uncover an age-old struggle for power protection, unfolding across continents, cultures, and centuries. Ancient Egypt birthed the first act with the Medjay. These elite warriors, dressed in the aura of mystery, were personal protectors of pharaohs and high-ranking officials. Their watchful eyes guarded royal palaces, tombs, and their swords served the Kushite military and even the Roman army stationed in Egypt. Beyond the sectors of human security, Egypt also pioneered in creating locks, securing the abodes of the affluent. Lurching ahead, a shift in scene takes us to Europe's medieval era, where nobility called upon private armies and mercenary forces. These were no ordinary soldiers. They were part of a chess game of intrigue and power. 12th century mercenary groups, with the ferocity of wild beasts, partook in conflicts like the Anarchy, a historical duel between King Stephen and Empress Matilda. By the 13th century, free companies had emerged. These bands of mercenaries, swift as falcons and shrewd as foxes, integrated into the King of France's armies under Philip II. Their allegiance was ever-shifting, swaying to the tune of gold and opportunity. Such was their adaptability that they were vital cogs in the military machinery of England's Henry II and Richard I. Yet their existence went beyond mere allegiance to crown or country. These free companies were lone wolves, with loyalty auctioned to the highest bidder, foretelling the private armies that danced to the beat of the old money elite today. Amidst this intrigue, castles rose as both regal residences and military bastions in the Middle Ages, with moats and walls acting as guardians against siege and assault. The innovation of concentric castles, with layers of walls and defensive structures, was like a puzzle box, a fortress within a fortress, painstakingly designed for unparalleled security. A leap across the oceans and we find ourselves moving through the samurai culture of feudal Japan. Samurai, those legendary noble warriors, served the nobility and royalty with a sense of honor as sharp as their swords. The code of Bushido, emphasizing loyalty, courage, and discipline, was their compass. They were more than protectors. They were a living philosophy, shaping Japanese society in the shadowed ages of feudalism. And back in the Western world, the Renaissance period heralded a new epoch, marked by the emergence of banking dynasties such as the Medici family, who navigated the turbulent seas of power with significant economic might. However, their influence was not merely monetary. It was a complex dance of intelligence, protection, and ambition. The Medicis, shrewd and calculating, employed personal guards like the shadowy Guardia de Lanzi, who acted as the fierce talons that protected the family. They were indeed a menacing presence, darkening the Medici court, embodying the family's suspicion and mistrust of fellow Florentines. In fact, so integral were they to Florentine life that they intertwined with it, marrying into local families and becoming one with the city's pulse. But the Medici's strategy was not all steel and brawn. They constructed a vast social web, an intricate wheel with the family at its hub and partisans as spokes. This network, extending like a spider's silk, secured their political position, their eyes and ears spread across Florence's landscape, maintaining a strict control over its political and economic lifeblood. And their intelligence wasn't merely confined to allies. They wove a network of spies and informants, collecting precious information that was the backbone of their power and a concealed weapon that guided their dominance over Florence. Fast forward to the 19th century, and the Rothschild family emerges on the same European stage, this time in Frankfurt, Germany. Here was a family that also understood the art of information, leveraging it not just to protect their empire, but to sharpen their edge in the merciless market. The Rothschilds erected a network of couriers, a living telegram system, consisting of carrier pigeons and swift-footed messengers. So robust and swift was this network that it replaced conventional mail, becoming the channel even for statesmen's letters. Messages that once languished for a week now flew across the continent in a day. This information highway gave the Rothschilds a formidable advantage, a timely knowledge that rendered them invaluable to governments, especially the British. Thus, this dance of intelligence and power, orchestrated by families like the Medici and Rothschilds, begins our story of webs and networks, of guards and spies, creeping through a living chess game where every move was precise and every strategy was exact. Now, in the maelstrom of the 19th and early 20th centuries, the Industrial Revolution unleashed a cadre of wealthy industrialists. Among shadows and gears, they sought the cloak-and-dagger services of private security agencies, the most renowned of which was the Pinkerton Detective Agency, founded in 1850 by the enigmatic Alan Pinkerton. The Pinkertons, wielding an arsenal of security management, risk consultations, and investigative prowess, became synonymous with the iron and steam of the time. Their work with the railroads was the stuff of legend, protecting trains and hunting down robbers with a ferocity that earned them international acclaim. For example, their triumph in unraveling the intricate $700,000 Adams Express Company theft in 1866 was a defining moment, a line etched in the sand. Alan Pinkerton's brother, Robert, further fanned the flames of their reputation by securing contracts with Wells Fargo, placing guards on stagecoaches, and driving the Pinkertons' influence deeper into the sinews of the private security sector. Yet their legacy was not without shadows. In 1892, their involvement in anti-labor union activities, such as the chilling Homestead strike, cast a cold eye on their practices. Hired by the steel magnate Henry Clay Frick, they protected the Carnegie Steel Company's Homestead plant, their role a dark dance in the play of industry and labor. As the 20th century's Cold War loomed, private security morphed into a global affair, a reaction to a world now steeped in political instability and terror. A new class of shadow players emerged, led by figures like Allen Dulles, the former director of Central Intelligence, a man whose name was whispered through the murky hallways of elite intrigue. Dulles, once an influential partner at the esteemed law firm Sullivan and Cromwell, moved with finesse through an intricate web of power, weaving connections between major corporations, influential clients, and families of stature like the Rockefellers, distant cousins through marriage thanks to his brother, Secretary of State John Foster Dulles. The Sullivan and Cromwell law firm that Allen Dulles dutifully served was no stranger to power, representing giants like Edison General Electric Company and United States Steel Corporation. They were the unseen hand behind colossal projects such as the Panama Canal's financing and had their fingerprints on some of America's towering industrial, commercial, and financial ventures. Indeed, the Dulles brothers' involvement was a crucial catalyst, fostering a network that fueled the growth of formidable private security services for the privileged elite. However, Dulles's reach extended beyond the Rockefellers, his influence casting a shadow that shaped foreign events to favor American businesses. One striking example was the dark accusation of Dulles's manipulation of Colombia's 1930 presidential election, tipping the scales to shield a client's oil interests. His roles at Sullivan and Cromwell, followed by his time at the CIA, painted a vivid picture of the intricate dance between wealth, power, and the clandestine creation of private security labyrinths. Fast forward to the modern age, where the landscape of power has evolved into highly specialized private military companies, or PMCs. These entities, armed with cutting-edge technology, cybersecurity, and global intelligence networks, are formidable players, at times outpacing even elite forces and blurring the line between the super-rich and superpowers. The ascent of PMCs, tethered closely to the enigmatic realm sometimes referred to as the deep state, casts a stark light on the expanding influence of the wealthy in sculpting the contours of global security. As these shadow armies continue to morph and expand, the complex dance between the ultra-rich and the military-industrial behemoth will undoubtedly remain at the core of the unfolding drama of private security and its reverberations across the stage of global politics. Now, in the realm of shadows and discretion, private military operators are cherry-picked from the ranks of elite forces such as the Navy SEALs and British SAS, or sourced through meticulous recruitment agencies. Their profiles are etched with experience, their muscles memory-laden with training in the dark arts of security and combat. The forge for these private soldiers is scattered across the world, with each facility meticulously crafting programs tailored to the specific appetites of wealthy families or formidable organizations. Consider the vast training halls of the Swiss Professional Security Academy, SBSS, the largest such private security facility in Switzerland, where practice-oriented training is honed to the precise needs of the client, contributing to a sharpened edge of security. In Geneva, Sentinel Protection, a maestro in security orchestration, designs training modules as diverse as their clients' sectors of activity. From practical scenarios to simulated in situ interventions, their menu is rich and complex. Furthermore, armed with technology's cutting edge, private security forces wield an arsenal that could give traditional military forces pause. From custom-made firearms to non-lethal innovations, they have at their fingertips creations by titans like Northrop Grumman and General Atomics. And their battleground is not just flesh and bone, but also bytes and pixels, employing AI-driven surveillance systems like those crafted by Algativ, ensuring that every angle is watched, every whisper encrypted. Furthermore, their involvements are often etched in the headlines, from the haunting kidnapping of billionaire heiress Patty Hearst by the Symbionese Liberation Army to the chilling abduction and subsequent negotiation of release for Sears CEO Eddie Lampert. But it's not just in the grand theatres of political intrigue that these forces operate. The private demons of wealthy individuals, threats from disgruntled employees, rivals in the dark corridors of business, or unseen adversaries, they all call for the tailored protection offered by private security forces. Through their unerring eye, surveillance mastery, and symbiotic relationship with law enforcement, these private armies of the ultra-wealthy craft a unique shield against the dark kaleidoscope of risks, painting an ever-changing picture of security for those with the means and need to summon them from the shadows. Now, the global labyrinth of private security is guarded by towering names such as G4S Academy, formerly known as the infamous Blackwater, and the aforementioned Pinkerton. G4S, a leviathan with its tendrils reaching into over 90 countries, stands as the world's most prominent security company. It's a sprawling citadel employing approximately 620,000 sentries, weaving together a suite of offerings that range from security personnel to monitoring equipment and rapid response units. A subsidiary of the American giant Allied Universal, G4S has its footprints across diverse terrains, from transport and logistics to financial realms, private energy, and beyond. But shadows linger in the gleaming corridors of G4S. Accusations of involvement in supplying the security apparatus of Israeli prisons in the West Bank, tainted by claims of torture, have scarred its reputation. Additionally, the bungled security arrangements at the 2012 London Olympics, where G4S reportedly fell short of its pledged personnel numbers, leading to a British military intervention, still echoes in its history. Meanwhile, Academy, the chiseled offspring of controversial former Navy SEAL officer Eric Prince, has its own infamy. Its canvas is marked by notoriously tense brushstrokes, including the horrific incident in Baghdad's Nisour Square where contractors opened fire on civilians. Accusations and contradictions whirl around the story, but the aftermath is inked with concerns over private military conduct and responsibility. Now, the legendary Pinkerton, the grey eminence of security in the United States, continues to offer its seasoned security personnel and investigative prowess to major enterprises. Alongside them, boutique security firms dance to the unique rhythms of client needs, sculpting personalized and specialized services. With regard to the financials of these murky battalions for the ultra-rich, revenue is spun through a maze of pathways. Subscription services merge with premium tailored solutions, high-tech security marvels blend with exclusive pitches, and invitation-only soirees echo in chambers lined with encrypted communication. Additionally, their tendrils reach into exclusive havens of wealth management, elite gatherings, and the high chambers of luxury, all resonating to the harmonic chords of affluence and influence. However, the golden gates of such security come at a price. Titans like Mark Zuckerberg unfurl tens of millions on shields of military-grade protection. Even celebrities such as Kylie Jenner lavish nearly $4.8 million annually on vigilant eyes that scrutinize, guard, and accompany her down the boulevards of fame. In fact, highly specialized bodyguards may command up to $1,200 daily, while private military contractors, the armored gladiators of this realm, might cost between $500,000 to $1.5 million per year. Thus, in a world that waltzes on the knife edge of global uncertainty and burgeoning wealth, the call for private security continues to resonate in a crescendo, in a unique symphony of trust, might, and exclusivity. Now, navigating the complex world of private security laws and regulations is akin to wandering through a serpent-like maze. The Montreux document, for many, serves as a compass, guiding states in their obligations concerning private military and security companies within war zones. On a national level, the picture diversifies. In the United States, regulation is as varied as the 50 states themselves, with some allegedly having no regulation whatsoever, while others are enmeshed in complicated legislation. In contrast, the United Kingdom centralizes its oversight with the Security Industry Authority, or SIA, under the Private Security Industry Act 2001. However, darkness resides in the shadows. For example, South Africa's private security industry investigation uncovered troubling realities. Out of 55 companies, only 23 complied with labor laws, while 22 failed, revealing a bleak picture of exploitation and neglect. Indeed, Africa's broader scenario paints a picture of legal ambiguity, where private military and security companies operate in a legal grey zone. This inconsistency across different global jurisdictions has opened the door to concerns over the standards and accountability of private security forces. Additionally, the realm of cybersecurity adds another layer to this intricate puzzle. Countries like Australia and New Zealand have forged ahead with national strategies, but the challenge of crafting effective regulatory frameworks for security management remains an intricate task. Thus, the current political landscape revolving around private security is a kaleidoscope of laws, strategies, and challenges, filled with specific figures and unique situations. It's a world where 55 companies can lead to a disturbing revelation in one nation, while a single document might shine a light on global responsibilities. And now we'd like to see you in the comments. If you were a member of an old money dynasty, how would you fill out your security detail? Would it be stocked with the world's most advanced former military officers? Or would it be helmed by close friends and associates whom you've known for your entire life? We'll be very curious to hear your responses on this one. We can't wait to hear from you. And as always, thank you for joining us here for another episode of Old Money Luxury. Cheers, until next time.